Back in August, 41-year-old Tikila Walker charged at Port St. Joe police officers with a 16-inch fillet knife. Officials say they were left no choice but to respond with force. Now, an arrest has been made.
So my first thought when I came across the story of Tikila Walker, who was shot by Florida police when she charged at those police officers with a knife, was why is this woman whispering in this local news segment? I don't understand quite why she's speaking in such a low voice. It's actually really weird. I find it to be odd. And of course, my second thought was body cams are the worst thing to ever happen to Black Lives Matter in the history of ever. And unfortunately for them, this is exactly what they asked for. It is the ultimate monkey's paw wish where you get what you want, but it works out exactly the opposite of how you expect it to. And this is what we're going to talk about today. This officer-involved shooting that is going viral of Tikila Walker in Florida. By the way, she did in fact survive this shooting, where if it weren't for the body cam footage, we would end up in a situation where Black Lives Matter would paint this woman as an innocent Baba Angel Aladdin who was just trying to fight off the cops with a knife in order to feed her starving family, but in reality, the body cam betrays that notion. Again, they ended up asking for this footage after the Michael Brown incident, which, by the way, to this day, they still lie about over 10 years later as an unjustified shooting, despite multiple forensic autopsies and whatnot confirming the exact opposite of the narrative. But if we had that on footage, like we now do post Michael Brown in all these departments across the country, that would never be a thing. We would all be able to see what is demonstrably true based on the forensic evidence for ourselves, and the name Michael Brown would become as irrelevant to political activists as Tikila Walker is now that we can see what this woman actually did. But before we get into all that, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Now, an arrest has been made. Monday morning, the Bay County Sheriff's Office arrested 41-year-old Tikila Walker on multiple charges. In connection to the Port St. Joe incident, Walker is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon on a law enforcement officer and resisting arrest with violence.
Now, I have two additional points before we make it into the body cam footage. First and foremost, for you preverts out there, for you disgusting individuals, yes, the local news lady happens to be an attractive individual. I know that you would mention it if I didn't mention it, so I have to mention it here. And secondly, it's as if they told Tikila Walker that she has to make the face of somebody who immediately regretted her decision of charging armed officers with a knife over a repossession of a vehicle that she refused to pay off, because that is exactly what this mugshot is expressing to me right now in this moment. But without further ado, let us examine the body cam footage. And by the way, the local news media actually has little bits and excerpts of said footage, but the Police Activity YouTube channel appears to have the whole thing from multiple angles, so you could examine whether or not this was a justified police shooting for yourself.
Put the knife down!
It's been around 2 weeks since the Port St. Joe Police Department saw its first officer-involved shooting in decades.
So like a couple of other viral instances of people attacking police officers, this still image tells the whole story. Now, the local news media actually breaks down the fact that we could see the knife in her hand. They highlight it for you, and then they go on to show a couple of the shots fired, which, by the way, I will not be showing throughout the course of this video due to the fact that it has violent nature, and I will get age restricted if I choose to do so. But they also show you the knife is still in her hand after the initial two shots end up hitting this woman. In addition to that, if you watch the body cam footage from the Police Activity YouTube channel, which again will be linked and labeled in the description under where it says sources for those of you who say you can never find these things, you're obviously not looking, you're not fooling me. You can actually see that they deployed tasers against this woman prior to this, and she managed to tank the taser. But let us roll back a little bit so you can understand the nature of this police encounter, because what this was over was this woman not making her car payments on time, a tow truck coming in order to repo the car, and then at some point in time, this woman decided it would be a good response to the tow truck to put a knife in the car, drive away, expecting a future confrontation. So yeah, this was a violent individual. This was somebody who could have easily killed that tow truck operator. She obviously didn't have enough common sense to know that gun beats knife and not to charge after somebody with a knife. And for those of you who are saying, Sean, well, the 21-foot rule that says that somebody charging at you is faster than you could draw your gun and fire shots in order to defend yourself, let us be clear, that is only applicable to when the gun is holstered. And in addition to that, that is in reference to a normal average person with normal average speed, not this woman who, don't move too fast. Although she did kind of have some giddy up when she decided to charge this officer.
Gup, I'm behind it here on Avenue A. She still hadn't pulled over yet. Pull the car over.
She just turned around me. Back off. Where you at, Warren?
Hey, you just getting yourself in a lot more trouble is all you're doing.
So as you can see right here, the police attempt a pullover of this particular woman, and this is from the dash cam view, by the way. You can hear the sirens. Obviously, the cop is right behind her. She's not driving particularly fast, but she is refusing to do so. You also have him, I believe, over the loudspeaker, telling her to pull over, and she decides that that's not going to be a thing that she wants to do. And at the same time, an oncoming police car gets in front of her, to which she jumps up on the sidewalk in order to get around. Now, for those of you who are unaware, because you didn't watch the full local news segment like I did, she actually, in relation to this whole tow truck incident of them trying to repo her vehicle, apparently did a couple of hit and runs, like made contacts with other vehicles.
The video documents several points of contact made with Walker throughout the day after she was involved in multiple hit and run incidents. The footage also shows attempts made to disarm Walker of her 16-inch fillet knife with a taser.
So there are charges that could be stacking up right here. It is justified to pull her over. It is not just about her not paying off the repo for her car. So there is 100% cause in order to initiate this stop. Make no mistake about it. I think that background is necessary because it's not really stated in the first 40 seconds of this body cam video. And I gotta bring you guys all the information so you can know what's up.
He stopped. I made him stop. Pull in here so you're not blocking the roadway.
What's up?
I just want to know what in the hell's going on.
Yo, I don't goddamn know. You tell me.
Well, they're trying to repossess your car.
What's up for?
Because they say you didn't pay for it, apparently.
Really?
Yeah. Pull up here so we're not in the middle of the road. Just pull up behind me.
So at this point in time, they pulled over Tikila Walker, who honestly sounds like she's been hitting that tequila, and considering she's not even paying for the car that she's driving, she should become a walker very soon. However, she's talking about how, they can come get the car, I don't even know why they would want it, and the officer has to answer these, obvious stupid questions with basic retorts because you didn't pay. The repo man come get your car when pay money. When give the money, let me give you the perspective of the repo man right here.
They're trying to repossess your car.
What's up for?
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
Then you don't get the car. That's what's going on right now, lady. That is what's happening at this moment in time. So can you please pull out of the road and actually engage with the officers? Because apparently there were some hit and runs affiliated with you trying to dodge the repo truck person. And that is the reason why you have now turned a civil matter into the police getting involved.
Put it down, ma'am. Put it down. No, ma'am.
Now we end up with a quick cut to more body cam footage after this woman has pulled out of the middle of the road, and she is actually flashing the knife at this moment in time. She's also receiving very clear commands to put down the knife.
Get put the knife down. Unlock the door.
And it's at this point in time that I would like to remind you guys that we are told and propagandized by the mainstream media into this idea that every single black person in the United States of America, due to the fact that this country is so evil, white, and racist, and the police are so evil, white, and racist, has something when they get to a certain age called the talk with their parents or parent, where they explain to them that you just can't mess around with the police because the police are just looking for a reason to kill you. They're just asking for a justification due to the fact that police are so evil, evil, white, and racist. Well, here's a woman with a 16-inch knife that she is flashing at the police at this moment in time, obviously not heeding the words of that talk that she should have had. But to be fair, she's only 41 years old, so even though we're told that this talk happens with black children, black youths, when they're very young, maybe she just hasn't gotten to that point of maturity yet where the parents or parent ended up having this conversation with her.
Drop the knife now! Drop it!
Now again, we have more commands from the officers for her to drop the knife, and despite the fact that police are just so evil, white, and racist that they're looking for a reason to use deadly force against black people, and this woman is presenting herself as a deadly force threat, we actually see the taser being deployed first by this officer who's on the passenger side of the vehicle prior to Tikila making the horrible decision of jumping out of the car. Now, of course, I'm not going to show you this woman getting shot. I'm not going to show you the way that she fell to the ground. That is something that you have to seek out on your own, link in the description. But the point is, you need to see this woman charging at the female officer, who in this angle of the video is right by the back driver's seat of the door, which is incredibly close.
Put the knife down!
Yeah, so as you can see, she jumps out of the car, charges the officer directly in line of the gun, which is clearly and obviously a ridiculously stupid decision. And but for the body cam footage, you would have all these different various black activists pretending like this definitely didn't happen. You'd hear things like, why would a 41-year-old woman, probably a mother of whatever amount of children, decide that she is going to charge armed officers when there are 3 of them around with a knife, as if that was going to be effective? But as we point out time and time again on this channel, criminals are absolute idiots. They're stupid. These are people who do not think about the long-term consequences of their actions. So what we see on this video is this woman doing exactly that. And make no mistake about it, she was never going to stab her way out of this situation. She was never going to kill 3 police officers and then be able to keep the car that she wasn't making payments on. This is a pointless, stupid, idiotic crime. And for those of you who are thinking, because this involves a repossession, that somehow the real criminal behind this is poverty, then please examine the footage, tell me what poverty was wearing, so that way we could put out an APB on poverty and finally make an arrest in that situation. Because regardless of the fact that she couldn't afford to pay the car, or she chose not to, or whatever actually ends up being the reality, in reality, this was never something that was going to get her out of that situation in the first place. This is not a logical choice. This is a bad impulse, bad behavior, terrible self-discipline on display right here. And if it wasn't for the fact that the officer fired in that situation, she likely would have suffered a stab wound and maybe died of a consequence of it. And if not for the body cam footage, this white female officer would have been castigated as an evil white racist. They would have talked about how the scenario was absolutely preposterous, and we would have seen all the different various propaganda techniques, like them showing us her high school graduation photo as if she's not 41 years old, or possibly what we see in those cases where they're death penalty cases, where we end up with the images of the actual murderer from when he was like 5 years old. We would have gotten the full propaganda train. This would have been a Black Lives Matter case. This police department that hasn't shot a suspect since 1988 would have been labeled systemically and structurally evil, white, and racist. And again, it would have been a disaster for our country. But since we have the footage, thank you, Black Lives Matter, we are able to disprove these notions in real time, or as close to real time, before the narrative gets all the way around the world. And I think that is absolutely amazing. But of course, I want to know what you guys think about all this down in the comments below. Is Tikila Walker an innocent Baba Angel Aladdin who didn't do anything wrong, who is only trying to stab her way out of a repossession in order to feed her starving family? Or maybe, just maybe, did she make a bad decision? Did she get shot for that bad decision? And she should thank her lucky stars that she's only charged with attempting to assault police officers, not attempted murder, and that she survived this encounter. All your thoughts down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the Tikila Walker BLM incident that never was. Till next time.